So 800
इंटरनेशनल पार्टिसिपेंट भी हैं, बेल्जियम से और यूएसए से भी करें।
अच्छा
जी सर।
जी नमस्ते। नमस्ते
सर आप ना अपना को म्यूट करिए।
Good morning everyone. Mehta ji, am I audible? Nayak ji?
Yes sir, yes sir, yes sir.
Honorable Minister sir has joined, and
Yes, sir.
now we can start the proceeding of formally start the proceeding of this webinar. Joint Secretary is also sitting along with us. So Honorable Minister sir is online, so you may
Yes.
proceed. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we welcome Honorable Minister, we welcome Secretary, sir, and we welcome more than 800 delegates which are joining us online. So, Honorable Minister, I just want to show you that how the 800 delegates are watching you online on the Sticky Bike platform. I just want to that how they are watching you. It's just. Can you see my monitor right now? Can you see the?
Yes, sir, we can see you.
Yes, so sir, this is the Sticky Bike platform, sir, where we are hosting this conference, and all the delegate has logged in from here. And this is the pre-function area, sir, the reception of the auditorium. At this auditorium, only the Honorable Prime Minister will be, inaugurating our AGM on 12th. And that is how the delegates are watching you, sir.
yes.
So with this, I would not waste much time, and I would introduce today's moderator. Our moderator do not need any introduction for the plastic industry. He's a veteran. I invite Dr. F.K. Nayak, Director General CIPET, to kindly please start the formal proceeding. So over to you, Dr. Nayak.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Manoj. Honorable Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, and Minister of State, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, Government of India, respected Secretary, Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, Government of India, President, CIPET Governing Council, Sri R.K. Chaturvedi ji, Sri Samir Kumar Biswas ji, Additional Secretary, Chemicals, Sri Kasinath Jha ji, Joint Secretary, Petrochemicals, senior officials, all stakeholders, all presidents of associations, faculty, research scholars, students from CIPET, and especially Secretary General FICCI, Mr. Dilip Chinoy, experts from across India, as well as our global international speakers. I formally welcome to them. As we all know, plastics is a wonderful material which has got a lot of benefits in all the sectors. However, there are issues with respect to environment, particularly with respect to recycling technology. In India, recycling is done extensively, although this recycling industry is not in organized sector. One of the major recycler, Mr. Doraji Plastic Industry Association, approached us, who are 40 years old, and approximately more than 400 units of plastic recycling industries are working at Doraji and surround area. Every month, approximately 25,000 tons of plastic waste being processed by Doraji Plastic Industries. Approximately 10,000 employment is generated by these plastic recycling industries. These plastic waste, they bring it from road waste, factory waste, and are being processed by these recyclers for different products, which are also exported, like rope, strings, box traps, pet straps, garbage bags, agriculture pipes, electric pipes, yarn, gelatin ropes, all are being manufactured at Doraji. This Doraji Association approached our department, and with the guidance, with the instruction of our Honorable Minister, Today, we are organizing this webinar and brought all the experts, speakers, including international speakers from New York and Belgium, to guide us to bring them more organized and similar things to be replicated in other areas. With this, I request Fiki to play a small video exactly what is happening in Doraji, what are the issues, how this can we bring it to organized. Thank you.
Samita, volume.
It provides employment to the thousands of people. By this, we can say that Doraji Plastic Industries is making the best things out of the plastic waste. Many useful items are manufactured by reprocessing plastic waste in the factory as well as exported of waste dumps every day in Doraji city. This waste is processed by Doraji Plastic Industries and produces different types of plastic products. Sorting process, cleaning process, grinding process. This waste is cut into small pieces. By the use of extruder machine, lumps are produced. These lumps are supplied as a raw material in the finished goods manufacturing company. These lumps are grinded in the grinding machine, and this grinder is filled with the color in mixture machine. Then, by the use of string and the small packages of strings is exported. Agriculture pipes are also manufactured from these lumps. By the using of reprocessed granules and lumps, box straps are manufactured, which is used for packaging material. The all over India's plastic waste are supplied here. Yarn is manufactured from the lumps, and this yarn is also used to produce nivar. These plastic lumps are used for producing Dunline rope, and the Dunline rope is used in marine, transport, agriculture, and the many more uses. Then it is processed and washed. From this washed waste, plastic granules and plastic lumps are manufactured. These granules and lumps are used as a raw material in plastic manufacturing companies. Granules are manufactured from the process of plastic trash, plastic drum, plastic bottles, and drip irrigation pipes. These granules are supplied as a raw material in a plastic production companies. The rope is also manufactured from gelatin type of plastic waste. After the process of these plastic lumps, monofilament rope is produced, which is exported to the USA, European countries, African countries, Far East, and some neighborhood countries like Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and the Sri Lanka. Garbage bags are manufactured from LD plastic waste, and the most of these bags are supplied in the hospitals for the medical use. Granules are also manufactured from milk pouch and algae pouch. These granules are used to manufacture tarpaulin and other plastic products.
Thank you, Mr. Manoj. This video could show that the Doraji industry is in little unorganized sector and how to bring it to the next level. We have brought the international experts and Indian experts, and department is keen under the guidance of Honorable Minister to see that Doraji recyclers contribute significantly to our Swachh Bharat mission. To start with, I will request Sri Prabhudas, Chairman, FICCI Petrochemicals Committee, Managing Director and CEO of HPCL Mittal Energy Limited, to give his welcome address. Sri Prabhudas has been involved with HMEL since its inception, including the formation of the joint venture. He is responsible for leading and managing HMEL and its subsidiaries as Managing Director and CEO. He possesses vast and wide-ranging experience in administration and management, having served the Indian Administrative Service for over 25 years. May I request Prabhudas to give the welcome address.
Thank you. Very good morning. On behalf of FICCI, Mr. Dilip Churai DG, it gives me a great pleasure to extend a very warm welcome to the eminent dignitaries, panelists, participants in this webinar on plastic recycling and waste management in India. Let me first welcome our Honorable Minister, Shri Mansukh Mandaviya ji, Minister of State, Independent Charge, Ministry of Port, Shipping and Waterways, and also Minister of State, Ministry of Chemical and Fertilizer. Sir, we have a very strong support from you for this plastic and petrochemical industry. You have been very ably guiding us for our continuous growth. You all know that what support you are giving for growth of this industry, and you have been a true driver of growth for all of us. So thank you very much, sir. We have with us Mr. R.K. Chaturvedi, Secretary, Department of Chemical and Petrochemical. I must say that he, in a very short time, he has become expert in petrochemical and chemical, and he has been guiding us with his vast experience and wisdom. So thank you very much for the support which you have been giving, sir. We have got two stalwarts with us, Mr. Samir Biswas, Additional Secretary, and Kashinath Jha, Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Chemical and Petrochemicals. They have been two pillars. And they have been supporting the industry and taking the growth and making sure there is a growth in that industry. So thank you well and welcome, sir. I need not say anything about Mr. Nayak. He has been the technical leader. Thank you. Let me welcome all of you, and just say a few words. 2020 has been a very challenging time. I don't think that we should ever experience this challenging time ever in future. However, in this challenging time, some material did wonders, and this plastic was a wonder material. This supported us substantially in this last 9-10 months. I will not elaborate that how much support it has given in our health and medical field, also in e-commerce field in packaging. This material, which have always been suspicious on sustainability, has done wonders, and we should support this material in future. All of you recognize that this material has been suspected or is being questioned because of one important factor, that is waste management system. We saw a video which is a very enlightening video. We should learn from there. We know that in India we process 60% of this material. 60% of the material is being processed. If the rest is also being taken, if we take care of the rest of material, this wonder material can do wonders. We require support. this in collection this material, processing, as we know that many industries are there, and we will be guiding today on how to process this material. Collection is the issue, and we require support from our municipal corporation and urban local bodies. They have to be strengthened both in terms of finances, technology, and as well as infrastructure. If we are able to support this municipal body in collection, I think all of us put together can recycle, and this will become a most useful material. I will not take much of your time. I would like to thank each and every one of you to join this, and welcome on behalf of FICCI. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind word. It seems there is some technical issue at the end of Dr. Nayak dissipate. So till I join, now I request the next speaker, Mr. Ullas Parikar, to kindly please give this presentation. So Mr. Ullas Parikar.
Good morning. Honorable Minister, and all the dignitaries on the dais. I don't want to take everybody's name. I have pleasure in sharing with you, on behalf of MRAI, some relevant submissions for plastic recycling and waste management so that this industry becomes Atmanirbhar. Next slide, please. Before I take up that, I would like to briefly mention about MRAI. MRAI is the apex National Association of India, representing the interest of recycling industry with over 1,200 members, including most regional trade and product associations. Our collective strength, comprising of 20,000 small, medium, and large enterprises, directly and indirectly employing 25 lakh people, spanning over recycling and recyclable commodities, including metals, ferrous and non-ferrous, plastics, paper, e-waste, tires and rubber, glass, automobile, construction and demolition waste, and also water. Next slide, please. In these submissions, there are a few objectives that we wanted to bring them out. First is to envision circular economy for plastics, where it's never considered as waste. And it is very clear that it's a very useful material. Even if it is waste, it can be converted into something which is useful. So that's the important objective. The second is to eliminate the obstacles which are there in recycling or its utilization, and innovate better methodologies for recycling and circulate them and keep them in the economy forever and avoid getting into the environment. And the third is, this particular industry supports sustainable growth because it provides social advantage like job creation and improved economic income to the low and downtrodden communities. It provides a big boost to the GDP and also creates economic value, and it reduces pollution and climate change impacts. And that is where I think this industry is very important and needs to be supported. Next. Now, I don't want to get into these details, but most important aspect is that recycling has both formal and informal segments. And it's most important that, we slowly shift the informal into formal by various processes, which I will be explaining in next slides. Next slide, please. There are 5 submissions we want to do, Honorable Minister. The first is to boost the demand for the post-consumer resins recycled products. The second is to encourage utilization of advanced technology and machinery. The third is to organize parks for recyclers with the desired facilities. The fourth is to facilitate notification of the EPR framework. And the fifth is to set up common waste management facilities in the park so that this particular industry gets a boost in terms of recycling. What is talked about as 60%, I'm sure can be taken up to very high levels. Now, each point wise, I would like to illustrate. The first is increased market demand of PCR. And for this, there's lack of demand because the good quality recycled granules are not there in the market. And there are various reasons for that. And the most important aspect is the awareness on this. So what is important is that as a solution, we recommend that the PCR should be mandated up to a level of about 25% by 2025 and probably gradually, increasing them, this mandate from, let's say, 0 to 25% in next 5 years. The government also should promote the use of these PCR-based materials in various purchases and the constructions which is carried out in the various buildings like malls, educational institutes, railways, cinema halls, etc. Because that will provide a boost to these particular PCR materials and also provide avenues for innovating more and more important applications for the same. Next slide, please. Building better infrastructure. Existing practices of recycling are producing very low quality and low price products. What is important is, can we bring these materials, the recycled granules, to the extent of virgin materials? And technologically it is possible. It only requires certain infrastructure, certain equipment, certain facilities which are not available in this country. And therefore, the solution, the submissions that we have to Honorable Minister is that the MCF should consider recommending to the Ministry of Heavy Industries and to the Ministry of Finance to waive off the import duty on these machines, at least for a while, until the local manufacture of that starts. The second is, if these PCR, that is the post-consumer resins, granules, if they are exported, they should be provided with some kind of 10% subsidy so that they can compete well and the market can grow. The third is import restriction. There, we don't want that import of these materials which are waste, or this type of recyclate should be permitted, because we want to develop the local market and boost the economy. So that is where the industry can set up good infrastructure, machines, etc., and also provide. The government also can provide appropriate facilities for ensuring that the input material actually of good quality starts reaching to these facilities where the good quality resins, PCRs, is being manufactured. Next one. Organize parks for recyclers with desired facilities. Currently most of the recycling industry is in informal sector, and we have seen that there is the quality of the output also is not so good. So what is important is that this particular standard has to go up, and for that, the formalization of this industry has to happen. And we believe that if these recycling business parks, if they are created, and if these industries are permitted to get into these particular business parks, the formalization of this industry will occur, and it will boost the improvement in the quality and also in the volumes that are created, and therefore the recycling rates also will increase substantially. There was a mechanism which was earlier introduced for textiles and jute industry, which was called as PUF scheme 1999. That is one of the references which can be utilized. 4 is to facilitate notification of EPR framework, so that the large amount of waste today, which is getting into dump yards, etc., starts flowing for recycling. Today, the entire EPR is happening on the voluntary mode. Once the notification is done, I'm sure, it will become a standard practice. And today, there are only less than 200, the producers or brand owners who are actually doing this activity. Tomorrow, they can be 5,000 and more, which are actually there in the market. And that's where more and more quantities of recycled material can be handled and processed. Next slide, please. The recycled parts to have common waste treatment facilities. Mostly what happens is, the major concern is the contamination which is there in this waste. So this contamination has to be treated. Individually treating them is not very suitable, is not very economically attractive also. So if these parks that we are considering, if they are provided with proper infrastructure to deal with the incoming material, the material can be given by the individual owners of the parks, recycling industries in the parks, but the treatment has to be done in a common way. So common treatment of the input material, and then effluent which will get generated, common treatment for that effluent, and also there'll be rejects from this recycling process which need to be handled and processed, and that can be sent to the cement kilns, or they can be sent for road construction, or they can be sent for waste to oil application, whichever is feasible. So for that, an infrastructure, a common infrastructure, if it is created, it will facilitate a great deal in terms of recycling. So next slide, please. So in summary, we would like to say, sir, that to increase the boost, the vision number is 25%. So can we mandate 25% of recycled material in the goods which are manufactured? Then waiving of import duty for importing the machines which are required for handling these waste materials in an appropriate manner for a while at least, and then facilitating the EPR framework so that larger quantities of material starts getting into the marketplace, and then also facilitating the setting up of common waste management facilities in the parks so that the process becomes formalized and effective. So this is what I wanted to submit on behalf of MRAI in terms of the total sort of submission. But one important thing to note in this entire waste recycling process which is there is the multi-layered packaging materials. Now, these multi-layered packaging materials today are being sent to the cement kilns or are utilized in some other applications where they are disposed in so to say terms. Whereas there's a new concept which is emerging, that is to recycle these MLPs also. And that is where I would like to invite my colleague, Mr. Rahul Poddar, who is Managing Director of Shakti Plastics, who have done some innovative work in terms of recycling these MLPs. So over to you, Rahul. Please go ahead. And thank you, audience, for giving me this opportunity. And thank you, FICCI, MRAI, and CPET. Thanks for this.
Nayak sir, he's back, sir. Please.
Yeah, thank you. Extremely sorry, got disconnected. Thank you, Mr. Rahul, for your wonderful presentation, Mr. Ullas. Now, Mr. Rahul, who is the Managing Director of Shakti Plastics, he has one of the best waste management company, having pan-India presence with collection center in 21 states and 5 union territories. I request Mr. Rahul to speak something about MLP waste management.
Thank you all. Good morning. So I'm here to speak on MLP waste recycling. So I'll start with the generation of MLP waste in India. So it was estimated in 2015 that MLP will grow, the industry will grow to 22 million tons a year by 2020. And yes, due to its extremely good properties, plastics has grown in India. Next slide, please. So we all know that plastics are highly recyclable, and MLP, which is considered non-recyclable by government bodies, brand owners in India due to its extremely low value, has a lot of challenges. Currently, it is being disposed in cement kilns, for co-processing, in road constructions, waste to energy, and pyrolysis. But of course, we have developed a technology where it can be converted into granules, and we can create a value out of this. Yes, next slide, please. So there are a lot of challenges in MLP recycling. That is why the industry has not grown till date in India. So one is it is of extremely low value, which is between 2 rupees to 4 rupees a kg. There's inconsistent MLP packaging designs, which affects recyclability and recycled products. Like a lot of films, multi-layers have different properties, different polymers blending. So that affects recyclability. It's very low density material, so it has a very high logistics cost. It's adequate availability of waste, which ends up in cement kilns and landfill. There is unavailability of appropriate technology on a large scale. That is why it's difficult for recyclers to reach a good technology. There is a lack of investments and funds in India, which needs to be addressed on an immediate basis so that recycling industry gets support. Lack of demand of recycled products. So in India, there's a different kind of mentality where people doesn't prefer buying materials made out of waste, where we need to spread awareness among consumers to support the recycling materials, recycled products, and so that demand can be increased, and of course all the people can get good support out of it. Yeah, next slide, please. So what support we need in terms of MLP recycling? So basically formalizations of unorganized waste management sector. It's totally unorganized as of today, and we need to improvise on this. There should be policies promoting construction of recycling units and enforce use of secondary raw materials. We should support large investments in terms of capacity building in recycling and waste management systems. Waste collection and recycling service must be kept out of GST, as there's a big challenge in GST in today in taxation slab. There should be strict legislations pertaining to collection, segregation, and recycling in country. There should be quality standardization of MLP packaging, resulting in good quality of recycled granules. So standardization is very important for a consistent inputs of MLP and better recyclability. Yeah, next slide, please. So today, recycling at Shakti Plastics, we are converting around 1 lakh tons of plastics per annum, which is where we convert into granules, and then it has been converted into products like chairs, stool, tables, benches, flower pots, and many more products. In last 1 year, we have collected more than 2 lakh metric tons of plastics waste and disposed it through different disposal channels. We have conducted more than 100+ awareness programs across India in schools, colleges, government bodies. We have distributed more than 10,000 products made out of plastic waste, like benches, sheets, profiles, and many more. We do a lot of campaigns with rack pickers, ground level people, a better livelihood. We have one of the best recycling technologies in India to convert MLPs and other waste into granules. We're registered with Pollution Control Board. We recycle all kinds of polymers like PP, HDP, LDP, ABS, HIPS, and many more under one roof. Also registered with GRS, which is globally certified, which is very mandatory now in global market. So again, we need to support Indian recyclers in terms of that. Yeah, next slide, please. So these are a few of the products which we make and which can be converted from plastic waste, like sheets, benches, pallets, which has been widely used in industries, factories on a big level, and it has very good economic value. It's cheaper than current virgin materials. Buckets, dustbins, flower pots, tiles, blocks. Next slide, please. So what are the benefits of recycling multi-layer, post-consumer multi-layer waste? So the price of virgin polymers in India are around 100 rupees a kg, and when we price for recycled materials is around 40-45 rupees a kg. So it's almost 50% than the prime material. So it gives good economic value to end producers who make products out of granules. So yes, it has been widely used in manufacturing, industrial, household appliances, automotive parts, and different products. It can be recycled materials can be customized according to the requirement of consumers. Tensile, impact, elongation, all the tests can be matched according to the product. So there is nothing like it's a inferior quality or a low grade material. It can be matched compared to virgin materials using right chemicals, additives, elastomers in extrusion process. And that is where we need to build the capacity. Of course, it diverts waste from landfill. It avoids primary production and puts packaging waste into circular economy. That's a very important part. It incentivizes rack pickers, because initially rack pickers never used to get value out of this MLP material. They used to throw it in a landfill or it gets littered on the street. But now in recycling, we are able to pay them 4 to 5 rupees a kg. So it gets incentivized. It requires less energy and water consumption, it saves carbon footprints and creates job. Of course, and it supports sustainable economy by converting waste to value. Next slide, please. So these are the significant properties when a product is converted from plastic waste compared to wood and metal. It has a very high durability, and it is corrosion resistance. It has low carbon footprint. It is sustainable. It requires low water consumptions compared to other materials. It contributes to circular economy. So there are a lot of benefits in polymers where we can use recycled materials. This is all from my end in terms of MLP recycling. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Rahul. As we all know, MLP is a huge challenge in this country, and the waste management with respect to MLP, whatever work you have done is significant, and I'm sure this park, Doraji, and other similar parks can be immensely benefited of this type of products. Both of you have brought to the knowledge of the department resource efficiency policy and some of this on imported machine and framework. There are three key points which we have been addressed. So I will bring it to the knowledge of the ministry, and we look forward. With this, thank you both of you for a wonderful presentation. And now we will invite one of our very prominent international speaker, Sri Sunil Bagaria. I mean, thank you very much. Although it is midnight, to give his expert opinion. He is the founder and president of GDB International Recycling and Sustainability Company based in New Jersey, USA. Sunil Bagaria moved to the USA from India in 1991 and completed his postgraduate studies in polymer engineering from Newark University in 1993. Sunil Bagaria is currently the chairperson of ISRI's plastic division for second consecutive term. May I request Mr. Sunil Bagaria to give a talk on overview of plastic recycling and outlook of foreign companies to recycling in India. Mr. Bagaria.
Thank you, Dr. Naik, sir. Thank you for those generous words. And I also want to thank Honorable Minister for making time, to come and attend this webinar. That shows how much importance he attaches to the issue of plastics waste in India. And it is great to see so many familiar faces and so many familiar names, Jha sir, Mr. Biswas sir, and certainly yourself. And I had the pleasure of meeting you all in Delhi before all this COVID thing happened. So, and I'm very, very happy to be here today. So, yes, next slide, please. So, see, in this slide, what I want to highlight is the rapid rise of plastics in our lives, right? So not too long back, like in 1950, the world was consuming only 2 million metric tons of plastic. And that figure has now reached, in 2017, cumulative production of plastic has been 8.3 billion metric tons. And that figure is expected to rise to 34,000 million metric tons by the year 2050. So now this slide will tell you how deeply plastics has become a part of life, a part of our life. And with plastics comes plastics waste, right? And hence the need to have a strategy, planning in place to manage this plastics waste. Otherwise, we have a very big problem on our hands. Currently, we all know we have this health pandemic. But if we do not manage our plastics waste effectively, then we will have another pandemic on our hand, and that will be a plastics waste pandemic. Next slide. Next slide, please, because I don't have too much time. So next slide. Okay. Here, recycled plastic, market demand is there, but not the supply. So the first thing that I want to highlight is virgin, recycled, and oil prices. So virgin plastic, recycled plastic, and oil prices must be dealing. See, the use of recycled plastic cannot be tied to the price of crude oil. Using recycled plastic cannot be a matter of convenience. When virgin prices are low, then we will use virgin material. And when virgin prices rises or increases, then we will use recycled plastic. This has to stop. And that is why, and we are seeing this here in USA right now. So what is happening is the demand for recycled plastic is increasing because of the consumer sentiment, because the consumers are realizing that it is better for the environment, to buy products that are made of recycled plastic. And corporate commitments, corporations, big MNCs, big brand names, they have made voluntary commitments to use recycled plastic. And certainly government legislations, that are coming in place, which is forcing the manufacturers to use recycled plastic, and hence there is enough demand for recycled plastics currently. Now, a recycled plastic, a market category in itself. So you'll be surprised to know that in USA right now, HDP, blow molding HDP grade recycled plastic is selling for over $2,600 a metric ton right now. So you can understand, while the virgin HDP is selling for around $900 to $1,000, recycled HDP granules, made of quality, made consistently of good quality, is selling for over 2.5 times the price of virgin resin, virgin HDP. So that shows that if, as an industry, if we are making good quality and a consistent quantity of recycled plastic, the people will come to buy from us. And the last point on this slide, making it recyclable and making from recycled. This is what true circularity is about. That we have to make our products recyclable and making it from recycled. So, for example, now the technology exists in the world that you can make bottle to bottle. So PET bottles, which we all use. Now there is technology that recycled PET, that the PET bottles can be recycled and again converted back into the bottles. This is what circular economy we are talking about in plastics, and the technology is there. So this is great news. When we talk about introducing circularity in plastic, this is what we need to do. Next slide. Okay. So when we are unable to handle our plastic waste, the government has to step in. And this is where I'm showing some 3 things that is happening where legislation is coming into place. One is, implementing EPR laws in the country, and India has taken a good lead on this. And certainly we don't have EPR laws in US, but I must congratulate and I must commend that India, for implementing and enforcing EPR, because fees on all packaging and certain plastic products imposed on manufacturers to promote collection and recycling. So basically what it means that liability follows the product. So if your product is harmful to the environment, then that company must contribute towards cleaning that problem, and hence the need for EPR. The second thing the government can do and must do is that to create sustainable demand, to create consistent demand for recycled plastic. And that can only be done by implementing this mandatory use of minimum recycled plastic. Okay? So a lot of countries have introduced minimum recycled content in plastic products. And I am looking forward for that day when India will also implement that. And certainly, when we do not address our plastic waste effectively, then what happens is bans. And as you can see, in some sort of legislation has already been implemented around many countries around the world to reduce the use of plastic. Next slide. So here you can see that lack of plastic sustainability, which is a big business disruptor and an issue that is leading to bans or deselection by consumers and brand owners. So if as an industry, we fail to manage our plastics waste and convert it into recycled plastic, the stigma attached with plastic is forcing the brand owners to switch from using plastics and go to metal and go to paper applications, which are not very environmental friendly choices. But the stigma is so much, the consumer backlash is so much that they are forced to switch from plastics. And some of these examples which you see here is exactly saying that. Yes, next slide. Thank you. Okay, so this is, please go back. So here I want to, make an announcement that, GDB is coming to India, and we are setting up an integrated recycling facility in India. We have been working on this project for almost 6-7 months now. And I want to thank, in fact, Jha sir and Naik sir. When we met, they had said that, why don't you come to India? Why doesn't GDB come to India? And as a result, the company has taken decision. We have made, substantial investments, and we are going to, create a lot of jobs. I'm very excited about this project. A lot of work has already gone into this, and I feel very proud that GDB will be in India, and you will hear good things about GDB very soon. Next slide, please. So one thing that we noticed, that there is a lot of paperwork and a lot of regulations, when we are setting up this plant in India. And just to make a point, I have listed here the things that we had to go through just to convert our land from agriculture to non-agriculture. I'm summarizing here. And many permissions had to be obtained from different authorities at different levels. And I used to ask Neil that, we have heard about this single window where everything will be handed out to you as soon as you plan on coming to India. And I'm like, where is that single window? I don't see that single window. But all I'm saying is that, for other companies, if India wants to attract foreign investment, if India wants to attract foreign technology, it is advisable to make our entrance, easy. There should be some kind of a uniform policy where, where we do not waste or we do not spend so much time in regulatory work and focus on actual recycling. Yes, next slide, please. See, this is obviously recycling industry has a lot to do, in solving plastic waste problem. But as an individual, also we have a role to play. We must always remember that, good intentions must always be followed by good actions. And on an individual level, you and I, we can also contribute towards managing or controlling or reducing this plastics waste problem. And some of the things that we can do on an individual basis. We have tried to put here. And one thing, please remember that do not use non-essential single-use items. It is just we use it for very less time and then we discard it. So to the extent possible, try avoiding using single-use plastics, non-essential single-use plastics. Other things, as you can read here, this will be our contribution to solving this global problem. Yes, next slide, please. So here, I have summarized. Obviously, the government of India, can play a big role. Make the entrance of foreign companies easier. Create policies, create regulations that does not make them stand in line to get permissions and go from department to department to department, which we are experiencing right now. And certainly quality, point number 2, I'm talking about the source segregation. See, quality of recycled plastic will only be as good as the quality of plastic scrap going into it, right? So when the plastic scrap gets commingled and contaminated, it is not going to make good plastic, it is not going to make good recycled plastic. And hence the need for source segregation. And this awareness, this education must be imparted to the people, to the household, at the household level. And this is where government can again play a role, spreading this message, spreading this important message, which will help the recycling industry. And we are talking about our Prime Minister Shri Modi ji's Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, and I'm very proud, when I hear all these things. And India can become Atmanirbhar in recycling, but not by closing to the world, but by inviting in foreign investment and technology. There are many advanced technologies already existing in the world that needs to be brought to India, to convert our recycling sector from more of an informal right now to formal. And these companies must find reasons to come to India, and the government has to create an environment where they feel welcome to come to India. Obviously, some of the things we are all aware of, that circular economy, plastic circular economy and tackling climate change are interlinked. When we make a product out of recycled plastic, then the energy required is almost 70%, 60 to 70% less, throughout the plastic chain. And it is now becoming clear that sustainability, plastic sustainability is not only a business imperative, it is also a moral imperative, because this planet doesn't belong to us, it belongs to future generations. And we have to adopt a lifestyle so that we do not destroy this planet. And as consumers, we certainly have a lot of power. We must demand change. We must demand brand owners to make products out of recycled plastic, and that in turn will create demand for recycling. So as consumers, when we go out to buy something, we should actively look for that product if it contains recycled plastic. If it does, then please buy it, because your action will then be helping the recycling industry. Next slide. So yes, so this is probably the most important slide here. This is the only planet we have. We know that, and if we do not treat it nicely, then we have to pass on this planet to our children and our grandchildren, and they have to sustain on this planet as well. They have to live their life, and hence we have to make sure that that we do not destroy this planet because we thought using plastic is so important. So we have to make sure that we handle our plastics waste in a responsible manner. Basically, no business is worth doing at the cost of environment, at the cost of our planet. So hence the need to collect and recycle all the plastics waste that gets generated. And thank you to the Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals. Thank you to MRAI, CPET, and certainly FICCI for organizing this webinar.
Thank you.
And I must say something about MRAI. I'm so proud of the work they have done in such a small time. I mean, there was no recycling association on a national level in India, and like 5 or 6 years back. And when we come to India now, and when we see what MRAI is doing for the recycling fraternity, it is great. It is like on an international level, the way they are putting all the issues that the recycling industry is facing in front of the government, and working for this industry. And I'm very proud to be part of MRAI, and excellent work they are doing. So, and thank you to all for listening to me, and namaste.
Thank you, Sunil Bagare Saab. In fact, 3 points. Most in this oil price that comes to our mind. We cannot grow recycling industry. Second point, what you recycle plastic must have not must have, it has to be there. The third point is mandatory use of recycled plastics and products. I would like to just tell you that DCPC through CPET in BIS we are formulating standards, SOPs. IOCL has joined hands with us, recycle products standards, norms and guidelines. So this is a way forward, and I'm very happy the last meeting we had with you in the department and viewer. Thank you so much. Have Rakesh Rana, Director, Gemini Corporation. Gemini Corporation was founded in 1989, Belgium. Gemini Corporation, one of the world's largest circular economy market makers, engaged in sourcing and distribution of recycled plastics, papers, metal. Gemini gives second life to 2 million tons of waste material operating in 60 countries. Gemini plays the role of recycler, collector, aggregator, supply chain expert, thereby affecting the entire circular economy of plastics recycling. Mr. Rakesh Rana to give a talk on solution for circular economy.
Thank you, Professor Daik, for the kind introduction. The Honorable Shri Mansukh Mandavia ji, the Union Minister of State for Ports and Shipping and Waterways, and Union Minister of State for Chemical and Fertilizers, I thank you for January this year and appreciate your continued support. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning from Belgium. And coincidentally, plastic was invented by a Belgian person called Leo Henricus Baekeland. I'm honored to be part of this wonderful effort dedicated towards plastic recycling. This unprecedented corona crisis has increased the use of packaging, and clearly the need for recycling has assumed greater urgency. Next slide, please. Thank you. To put the plastic waste in proper perspective, we generate about 350 million tons of plastic waste globally. About 50 million tons, or approximately 16%, are recycled worldwide. There is a general consensus to increase over the next 5 years the recycling rate from existing 16% to 30%. Tons to 100 million tons annually. Mechanical recycling alone cannot increase this additional 50 million tons annually. We need chemical recycling, and we need other forms of recycling, and I'm very happy to see the presentation of Rahul and appreciate the efforts considering the challenges on MLP plastics. My presentation is divided in two parts. The first part is focused on how do we create wealth from waste. Based on our experience in Europe and USA, I have following suggestions for Mandaviya-ji and his team. First, increasing taxes on landfills. In Europe, we have very high landfill taxes of around €125 to €150 per metric ton since several decades. This is in order to create a bottleneck to go for landfills. This has resulted in higher availability of scrap and has led to greater investments. As Mr. Ulhas Parlikar has also said, streamlining extended producers' responsibility will help increase the collections and recycling rates. In Belgium, there is an EPR system since more than 2 decades via Valipack, which manages all the flexible packaging waste. This has helped raising the recycling rate to almost 90%. Third, promote the use of post-consumer resin or PCR. The European Union is introducing a tax on non-recycled plastic packaging from 1st of January 2021 with a call rate of euro 0.8 per kilogram, which is around 71 rupees per kilo. I repeat, 71 rupees per kilo of tax on non-recycled plastics. California has in similar way introduced world's strongest recycled content standard with a minimum of 50% recycled content in beverage bottles from the year 2022 and increasing to 50% by year 2030. These are all different ways how the government legislation is pushing the use of PCR, thereby creating demand and encouraging industry for making multi-million-dollar investments. Fourth, as Mr. Ulhas Parlikar has also said, in government purchases, please give extra weightage to those goods which are produced from recycled materials. This is what USA is doing under the EPEAT system. Fifth, set rules to encourage plastic articles being produced are 100% recyclable or reusable by a certain target date as per consultations with the industry representatives. In the European strategy for plastics in a circular economy, by the year 2030, all plastic packaging placed on the EU market will be either reusable or recycled in a cost-effective manner. Next slide, please. Thank you. Now coming to the second part of my presentation, let's focus on the compelling opportunities in recycling business and how do we boost foreign investments. 450 brand owners like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Unilever, Nestle have given commitments to Ellen MacArthur Foundation to reduce plastic waste and to use PCR. They would need 5.4 million tons of PCR by 2025 every year. The leading petrochemical producers have formed an alliance to end plastic waste. The alliance has to invest $1.5 billion, I repeat $1.5 billion over a period of 5 years for promotion of plastic recycling and ending plastic waste. As Bagadiaji from GDB has said, HDP prices are higher, recycled prices are higher than the prime HDP prices. India is in a perfect place to take these advantages and these opportunities with its efficient and competitive labor force. And you need a very efficient and competitive labor force in order to recycle plastics. So what do we need? First, to have long-term recycling targets. In Europe, under the Waste Framework Directive, it has made 3 recycling targets until the year 2030. They are, number 1, a common EU target for recycling 65% of municipal waste by year 2030. Second, A common EU target for recycling 75% of packaging waste by 2030. And lastly, a binding landfill target to reduce landfill to maximum of 10% of municipal waste by 2030. Second, to achieve these long-term targets, we will need predictable long-term policy decisions. Like Korea has reduced sales tax or GST on goods made from recycled materials. USA provides 100% depreciation allowance in the very first year of purchase of recycling machineries. Third, possibility of a separate ministry for waste business. Like in England, there is a ministry for waste business called Resource Ministry. The plastic recycling industry in Europe directly employs 1.6 million people, and that's how they show the importance. Finally, separate waste code for clean sorted plastic waste. In the new Basel Convention, which will start from 1st of January 2021, such plastics will have a separate code called B3011. Usually there is only one code for all different types of plastic waste, be it clean or contaminated. Under the new Basel Convention, Europe will have easier rules and regulations for such clean plastics. You may have stricter rules for contaminated and mixed plastics. Next slide, please. Thank you. Gemini, with its vast experience, is ready to help in every possible manner. Gemini has already invested $1.5 million in India, thanks to the continued support of all the ministries, and we are committed to invest in more projects in the near future. Our chairman is very ambitious and thinks big about India. We will be happy to share the best global practices around the world. We can arrange delegation visits to the best recycling facilities in Europe and USA to learn the technical know-how. We can bring the best technologies of Europe and USA to India. Next slide, please. Thank you. I would like to finish this presentation with a quote from our chairman. He likes to tell very often, waste is not a waste until it is wasted. On the contrary, it's a resource full of opportunities. Thank you so much for having me part of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kurna. It's a nice presentation, and we will go forward with you as per the MOU we have signed. Now, since the time is very short, may I request Mr. Dalsukh Bhai to speak for about 2 minutes on about Doraji, the challenges you faced at Doraji Plastic Association, followed by Mr. Mukesh Jhunjhunwala and Mr. President Malegaon Plastic Recycling Association, and Mr. Himanshu, Chairman REA Plastic Waste Committee Delhi. These three we are giving the main challenges, common challenges, issues. If it can be addressed quickly in 2-3 minutes, it will be quite, Honorable Minister can hear it. Thank you. Mr. Vagadia, Mr. Jhunjhunwala, and Mr. Telwankar.
DG sir.
Haan sir.
And Mr. Dalsukh Bhai, actually this seminar was planned, and in fact the genesis is in Doraji. I will request Dalsukh Bhai to take your own time and explain in detail to Honorable Minister as per your convenience. But we say maintain the time because we are running short of time.
इसमें आग्रह यह है कि आप अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स को व्यवस्थित रूप से बताएं और क्या इंटरवेंशन चाहते हैं वो सभी लोगों की तरफ से वो बताएं, और जनरल चर्चा जो हो गई है उसको अवॉइड करें तो ठीक है। तो अपनी प्रॉब्लम्स और क्या सॉल्यूशन एक्सपेक्टेड है उस बात में कहेंगे आने, और जलगांव और अन्य जगहों से भी जुड़े हुए जो एक्चुअली रिसाइकलिंग कर रहे हैं वो अपनी बात को हम व्यवस्थित रूप से रखेंगे।
टू दी पॉइंट है, मतलब बैकग्राउंड हमें पता है, ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर को पता है, आपकी क्या समस्या है, 2 पॉइंट बताइए। दलसुख भाई जी शुरू करिए।
Mr. Dhanshuk Bhai ji, are you here?
आवाज आ रही है सर?
हाँ बोलिए, प्लीज बोलिए।
ये हमारे धोराजी में 40 साल से प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग हो रहा है सर, और पर मंथली 25,000 टन का रिसाइकलिंग होता है। 40 साल से रिसाइकलिंग हो रहा है, और जो रिसाइकलिंग होता है वो रोडवेज का होता है। रोड में से जो कचरा निकलता है उसका हम रिसाइकलिंग करते हैं, और 10,000 लोगों को हम 40 साल से रोजगारी दे रहे हैं। और हमारे जो दिक्कत आ रही है, हमारे प्लास्टिक में जो दिक्कत आ रही है, और प्लास्टिक का ग्रोथ हम कैसे करें, 400 इंडस्ट्रीज है, 800 कैसे बनाए, वो हमारे छोटे छोटे थोड़े प्रॉब्लम है। जो प्रॉब्लम मेरे थोड़े लैंग्वेज में प्रॉब्लम है, इसलिए मैं अपना कारोबारी सभ्य है और अंकित भाई, उसको मैं देता हूं, वो आपको सब समझाएंगे। प्रमोद
ठीक है सर, प्लीज जो आपकी कन्वीनियंस हो उस हिसाब से करिए प्लीज।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर जी। Okay. Can we start with our PPT, please?
Yes, it is already there. You whenever you yes, yeah.
Sir, can I share?
आपका जो प्रॉब्लम है वही बताइए, आपका इश्यूज क्या है वही बताइए, वही स्लाइड में जाइए। जो इश्यू के ऊपर जाइए। वो तो छोड़ दीजिए, सीधा इश्यू में जाइए।
ओके सर। सर हमारा इश्यू है कि हम जो यहाँ पे जो रिसाइकलिंग करते हैं तो उस पर कुछ बेनिफिट नहीं मिलता है। अगर गवर्नमेंट हमें कुछ बेनिफिट दे तो हम उसको कैसे एक्सपांड कर सकते हैं। जैसे कि अगर कुछ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी है वो मोस्ट इफेक्टिव फैक्टर, सबसे ज्यादा पावर कॉस्टिंग रिसाइकलिंग में यही लगता है। तो अगर गवर्नमेंट उसमें कुछ बेनिफिट दे सकती है so it would be better for us, and if government also give us a solar subsidy like they are providing in the residents, if government will provide for the recycling industries solar subsidy, then it will be good. And the main point
अंकित जी आप अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन को मत शेयर करिए, हम आपके यहाँ से कर रहे हैं, आपका एरर है। आप प्लीज अपनी ये हटा दीजिए, हम आपकी शेयर कर देते हैं, प्लीज आप रिमूव कर दीजिए।
ओके सर।
आप वहां से नेक्स्ट बोलेंगे तो यहाँ से चेंज कर देंगे।
ओके सर।
हाँ अब बताइए प्लीज।
अच्छा, जैसे और द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट इज द नो प्लीज कम टू द फर्स्ट स्लाइड। yes please. The raw material depot. Raw material depot means here should be there is a raw material depot and all over India से अगर यहाँ पे कॉर्पोरेशन या म्यूनिसिपैलिटी का वेस्ट यहाँ आता है, और इफ गवर्नमेंट विल डू ओवर हियर द सच काइंड ऑफ सेग्रीगेशन एंड द क्लीनिंग प्रोसेस ओवर हियर, एंड द रेडी material will be ready for the our industrialists to use for the nominal rate, then it will be better. We can increase our production capacity, and sometimes we face the shortage of the raw material. Like in lockdown, we faced lack of the raw material and shortage of it. So if raw material depot or one kind of raw material bank will be over here, then it will be very good for us and our industries. The basic facility. Doraji Plastic Industries is working since 40 years, but till the date we are not getting the basic facilities like road, water and drainage. Water is the needed to the recycling for the cleaning and some other purpose, but we have to arrange by our own. So we need some basic facilities also. Next slide, please. Yes. For the GPC, our sector is the unorganized sector, and many of our industrialists want to get PCB license. But as we told that our industrial is very old, and the industrial areas are the monarchical time. सो जब राजाशाही टाइम से ये सब इंडस्ट्रियल एरिया है, तो यहाँ पे जब जीपीसीबी में मांगते हैं कि 7 बार का आपको डॉक्यूमेंट्स चाहिए, लेकिन वो अवेलेबल ही नहीं होगा. So this is the main point for the industry, that they are not getting the GPCB license. And the another thing is that for the GPCB license, GPCB asked the fees with penalty since the company started. So it is also the big problem, because our industry is very small and they can't afford these things. Okay, next one, the technical upgradation. We are using the technology as we found our own. यहाँ की जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी है रिसाइकलिंग के लिए, वो हमने खुद फाउंड की है. तो हमारे पास ऐसे कुछ स्किल्ड इंजीनियर के ऐसा कोई सपोर्ट नहीं है. सो इफ वी गेट द बेटर टेक्नोलॉजीज फॉर विच we can produce more with the better quality and the less cost. So it will be good for us if we get the technical upgradation. The research and development center. Research and development center means that we can test the material, and we do not have any BIS standard or quality testing improvement system over here. So it must be over in the cluster. Next, please. Yes. As I told that testing facilities should be there so that we can check our raw material as well as finished product with the standards. Industrial Training Institute for Plastic Recycling. There are no such facilities to get skilled labor. So if here start a training institute for plastic recycling, then our industrialists will get the knowledge as well as also get skilled laborers from the institute. After completion of this course, people can get jobs here in the recycling industries. So training institute must be over here in the Doraji cluster. Some extra benefits. Recycling industries are doing good work as they are cleaning the country's waste. So they should get some extra benefits than other industries like subsidy in new machinery, infrastructure development, etc. Transport cost. Our raw materials came from the entire India. The transport cost is major factor for this recycling industry. So if we get an raw material by the railway, then it could reduce the transport cost, and the same way we can send the finished product by the railway to the different cities. Earlier, we was before 22 or 23 years, हम लोग भी सेंड करते, हम लोग भी भेजते थे यहाँ से by railway, but there was no safety of our goods. So if we start with the railway, then there must be, we must sure that our goods safety. Next, please. लेबर सोसाइटी. अब तक जो हमने किया वो सब हमारा इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट के लिए किया, लेकिन नाउ we also need some for our labor. Like as we already said that our industries are very small and they don't have some facilities. Even our industrialists don't have their own office very as well. So they can't provide some labor quarter. So if government is making some kind of Awas Yojana everywhere, so why don't they make over here in the plastic cluster and provide the labor quarters to the recycling industries? The labor insurance, if government will provide the labor insurance for the health and the life insurance, like medical and the life insurance, then it will be good. The marketing or exhibition center, there are no such kind of facility here in our city. We don't have some good auditorium or seminar hall where we can arrange some function or seminars or can arrange exhibition types events. So this kind of infrastructure facility should be provided. As 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 we have already said that our finished products is also exported, but we are not not exporting directly. We are given to the merchant exporter, and then merchant exporter are exporting. So we also need the some kind of center and events done over here so that our industries can grow very well. And since last few months, we have the green zone problem. Green zone applied on Doraji city, so there will be no more land convert to the for the industrial. Yeah, here is the GST rate problem. Uh, the tax slab of the raw material, waste raw material and the finished product are different. Here we are showing you the calculation that if waste inwards for the purchase the waste 10 ton. So we can see that amount of GST is 4,000, and after processing lumps, we assume that 50%, only 50% we will get the finished lumps, and the rest of 50% is the like dust and some other impurities. So here is no problem, but when plastic granules has the 18% of the GST and the plastic finished products as the 12% of GST. So we can see the difference that only if we calculate for the 10 ton, then the industrialist have the 13,920 rupees of the GST will be credited always to the government's account. So they are उसका जो कैपिटल वर्किंग कैपिटल होता है वो जीएसटी में ही ब्लॉक होता जाता है तो बिकॉज ऑफ द व्हाट वी से ये इसमें जो होता है वो जीएसटी में से वो तुरंत आता नहीं है उसका सो हियर इज आल्सो द मेन प्रॉब्लम ऑफ द जीएसटी सो in the next slide we will see how the solution there is a there are three options for this rate. Either the finished product GST rate should be increased at the 18%, or the second option is the finished product the raw material GST rate should be decreased at the 12%, or vice versa, like raw material should be 12% and finished product should be 18%. In all of the three cases, government revenue will not affect anyhow. गवर्नमेंट की जो रेवेन्यू है वो तो सेम ही रहेगी जीएसटी में, उसमें कुछ इफेक्ट नहीं होगा. बट जो द मेन पॉइंट इज दैट कि जो इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट है, कोई भी रिसाइकलर है, तो उसका जीएसटी गवर्नमेंट के पास क्रेडिट नहीं रहेगा और उसको रिफंड मांगने की जरूरत नहीं रहेगी. as we all know that refund is not easily in these days, because we also facing problem that we have that जो एट द टाइम ऑफ द वेट एंड एक्साइज हमारा जो वेट का कैरी फॉरवर्ड हुआ था वो अभी तक भी रिफंड नहीं हुआ है. So because GST council saying that you have to only utilize that GST, but in this case we can't utilize because we are always have credit our GST rate. So that is also a major problem. The next please. Okay. As I said that hence we can say that government revenue, or here the HSN code with details that the granules HSN code and finished products which have 12% and 18%. Okay, thank you. Special, I would like to special thanks to Sri Mansukh Mandavia ji sir ji, Fiki, Mr. Nayak sir, CPET, and very special thanks to Kasinath Jha Sarji, who guided us for this presentation, and Mr. Atul Kanunga Sarji, who is also joined with us, and MRI and FICCI. Thank you.
Thank you. मेरा ये रिक्वेस्ट है, मालेगांव प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग एसोसिएशन, जलगांव और दिल्ली, इनमें जो कॉमन है, जो इशू बोले हैं फ्रॉम इसको छोड़ के और जो भी पॉइंट है अगर वो बता देंगे तो ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर कैन लिसन इट. जो पॉइंट बता दिया उसको छोड़ के बाकी जो भी है अगर वो बता पाएंगे तो वी कैन लिसन इट क्विकली. झुंझुनवाला साहब कुछ है और बोलने का?
झुंझुनवाला साहब, आपको अनम्यूट करना पड़ेगा अपने आप को, प्लीज आप अनम्यूट करिए। मुकेश झुंझुनवाला साहब, म्यूट कीजिए, आप अभी भी म्यूट पे हैं।
हाँ जी,
सर आई थिंक कुछ टेक्निकल इशू है क्या, फिर हम दिल्ली को रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं अगर
दिल्ली तो हम हिमांशु साहब को रिक्वेस्ट करेंगे, अगर कोई इसको अलावा और कोई पॉइंट्स है, इश्यूज हैं तो हमको बताइए।
हिमांशु जी अपनी बात शुरू करें।
हाँ बताइए हिमांशु जी, बताइए। हिमांशु जी आप सुन रहे हैं?
बहुत भाई। सर
हिमांशु जी, झुंझुनवाला जी, कोई अगर कुछ इश्यूज है आप बताएंगे, बताना चाहेंगे? सर अगर आप परमिट करेंगे तो हम फीडबैक सेशन में आ जाएंगे, उसी में अगर कुछ इशू है तो।
जी कैरी ऑन करो
सर। नाउ द फीडबैक सेशन इज ऑन। सो इसमें जो भी स्टेक होल्डर्स है, स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से जो भी ऑफिशियल्स है, अगर कुछ दे वांट टू ब्रिंग इट टू द नॉलेज ऑफ ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर, काइंडली गो अहेड।
एनीबॉडी फ्रॉम स्टेट ऑफ गुजरात? गुजरात गवर्नमेंट से कोई है ऑफिसर? कल उन्होंने कंफर्म किया एडिशनल चीफ सेक्रेटरी साहब?
कल कंफर्म किए थे।
प्लीज रेज योर हैंड एंड स्पीक।
Yes, Rajendra ji.
Yeah. Can you listen to me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
राजेंद्र घोरपड़े, मैं पुणे से होता हूँ, महाराष्ट्र, और मैं कंसल्टेंट हूँ। ये पब्लिक प्राइवेट पार्टिसिपेशन जो स्कीम्स है, तो मेरा बैकग्राउंड है कि मैं हेड ऑफ द डिपार्टमेंट मिडकॉन कंसल्टेंसी में था 14 साल, और ये जो अभी धोराजी और जो जलगांव और मालेगांव, ये लोगों से मेरा संपर्क है एमआरए थ्रू। तो इनकी जो भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट की जरूरत है, और लाइक रोड, पावर सप्लाई, सोलर पावर सप्लाई, और उनको जो R&D लैब्स और क्वालिटी कंट्रोल, टेस्टिंग, ट्रेनिंग फैसिलिटी जो चाहिए, तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट डीसीपी से है और मिनिस्टर साहब से है कि सर मैं अलग अलग पीपी स्कीम लास्ट 15 इयर्स अलग अलग मिनिस्ट्री के साथ काम कर रहा हूँ और उनके प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट्स बनाता हूँ और काफ़ी 600 करोड़ तक महाराष्ट्र में लाया हूँ। तो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ MSME की एक MSC CDP स्कीम है, माइक्रो स्मॉल एंटरप्राइजेस क्लस्टर डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम, जिसमें वो करीब 70% तक 70% तक ग्रांट देते हैं। ये सब टेक्निकल अपग्रेडेशन, कॉमन फैसिलिटीज, टेस्टिंग, क्वालिटी कंट्रोल, R&D के लिए, और उसमें सॉफ्ट इंटरवेंशन भी रहता है जिसमें वो ट्रेनिंग देते हैं। और उसको ये पूरा 20 करोड़ का स्कीम है, उसमें से 70% यानी 14 करोड़ देते हैं MSME के लिए। और उसमें और एक दूसरा अलाइड स्कीम है, उसको IID बोलते हैं, इंटीग्रेटेड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट। तो उसमें जो भी पावर सप्लाई, रोड जो भी इनके वाटर सप्लाई ड्रेनेजेस इसकी दिक्कतें हैं तो उसको 60% तक वो सब्सिडी देते हैं। तो मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है, मुझे समझ में MRI से क्लोजली डील करता हूँ अभी, तो उन्होंने बताया कि DCPC भी ऐसी स्कीम ला रहा है। तो प्लास्टिक पार्क जो बड़ी स्कीम है सर, मेरा रिक्वेस्ट है कि वो बहुत ही बड़ी उसको इन्वेस्टमेंट ज़्यादा लगेगी, लेकिन जैसे MSc CDP MSME का मिनिस्ट्री का मॉडल अगर अपन फॉलो करते हैं, मिनिस्टर साहब को रिक्वेस्ट है कि उसमें अगर हम एक 500 करोड़ 1000 करोड़ पर ईयर की प्रोविजन करते हैं, बजट लाते हैं, तो काफी ये उनकी जो दिक्कतें है वो फटाफट उसको सॉल्व हो जाएगी। और मैं ये तीनों जो एसोसिएशन है, दोराजी, जलगांव, मालेगांव, इनके सब एसोसिएशन के साथ 3-4 महीने से काम कर रहा हूँ और उनको मैंने ये स्कीम भी सजेस्ट की है। तो फिलहाल हम मिनिस्ट्री MSA में भी ये स्कीम लेके जा सकते हैं, लेकिन अभी अपना खुद का DCPC का अगर स्कीम है तो बहुत अच्छा हो जाएगा और ये स्कीम पूरा इंडिया में हम अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। This is my kind request and suggestion to all the dignitaries and officials here and ministers. Thank you.
थैंक यू राजेंद्रन साहब। डॉक्टर मेधा कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? डॉक्टर मेधा।
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Medha Tatpatrikar. I'm the founder director of Rudra, the pioneers of waste plastic to fuel in India, as well as run a NGO which collects waste plastic. There are a couple of things we would like to make is currently there is a lack of focus on long-term sustainability of recycling plants in ULBs. You get a grants, you get everything for the capex, but the problem happens in our daily operations or availability of segregated waste and the quantity. If the ULBs and the ministry and all of us work together, I think the recycling plant, which you see that they will run for a while and they just go off, that will help. Secondly, there is a lack of R&D investment, which leads the technological innovation, which are very much needed in recycling industry. Because when we started, we have nothing, and we still need lot of R&D, because I believe that a lot of things are happening in India in a very much pockets, but there is no such government initiative. And thirdly, again, if I just speak about my industry of plastic to fuel, there is no clarity on the GST on a fuel oil. We are just charging as much as the diesel, but if there is a clarity, we have applied, but there is no clarity on that. There is actually was a gazette by the petroleum ministry on a fuel oil, plastic fuel oil. Nothing has happened much, so it can happen. There are a lot of companies are coming in this sector, which will help. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Medha. And anybody?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everybody. This is Ekta Narayan from Recycle, Hyderabad. So, Recycle, we are a W Commerce waste management company working towards integrating all the stakeholders. What we feel waste management in India is not integrated. That's the major challenge. And I agree to Medha, who has actually highlighted a lot of important points. And as we are, working at ULBs, we believe that digital disruption is required to bring all the stakeholders on a single platform. So at Recycle, we are working towards it. And I think there is a lot of, gaps in the infrastructure thing. And whatever work is happening, it's not getting captured appropriately. And since there is no digitization of the urban local bodies, the ULBs, collection centers, there is very, very, there's a lot of gap which is there. So at Recycle, we are trying to, offer our service of digitization, which will give the municipal commissioners a clear visibility of inflow and outflow of material. And the moment that information is available, then the mind starts working. We know that this is not actually waste, it is wealth. So the wealth can be generated by directing it appropriately. And if there are some baling machines or certain such machines, because we know plastic being light material, it needs to be processed before transportation. And then these recycling parks like Doraji, and there are many such in our country, can get a steady supply of plastic material. So I think digitization disruption is also very, very critical as sorting, segregation that we are talking about, and also awareness. I think we have our solution ready, and I would like to take this opportunity to give this submission on behalf of Recycle, that we are willing to digitize all the ULBs without any financial burden to the municipal corporations. And this will open up complete information of, the plastic material that's available, and it can be channelized. The recyclers are ready to buy the material, and it can be appropriately bought. So the waste commerce, the W commerce, can emerge through digitization, and a new era in our country can be started.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Ekta, Dr. Medha and Rajendran. Now all these points will be addressed. Now may I request the Kasinath Jhaji, Joint Secretary, to say a few words.
Honorable Minister, sir, Secretary, sir, and senior officers and all the participants. First of all, I would like to thank Honorable Minister for motivating us to organize this webinar and to listen from all the stakeholders. I will not take much time. Whatever feedback we have received, जो भी हम लोगों को फीडबैक मिला है, खास करके इसमें जो एक धोराजी मॉडल जो हमने देखा नवंबर 2019 में जब हमने विजिट किया और वहां से जो हम कैरी करके लाए, द प्रॉब्लम्स हमारे दिमाग में था, और उसी को ध्यान में रखते हुए ये थोड़े बड़े स्तर पर हम फीडबैक लेकर के और पॉलिसी सपोर्ट क्या कर सकते हैं वो हम लोग प्रयास करने जा रहे हैं। प्लास्टिक का महत्व, प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग की जरूरत और कितना कचरा इकट्ठा हो रहा है, इन सब पर हमारे वक्ताओं ने काफी विस्तार से चर्चा करी। दो तीन चीज जो मैं संक्षेप में बताना चाहूंगा कि जो प्लास्टिक रिसाइकलिंग है, इसमें हमारा सिपेट के थ्रू दो क्षेत्र में जो टेक्नोलॉजी ट्रांसफर है, लेटेस्ट टेक्नोलॉजी और स्किल्ड मैन पावर, इसमें हम डिपार्टमेंट की तरफ से सपोर्ट कर सकते हैं बड़े स्तर पर। एक डॉक्टर मेधा ने जो बताया कि गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से इनिशिएटिव्स नहीं है, मैं उससे पूर्णतः सहमत नहीं हूं। जब विभाग के स्कीम्स के बारे में आपको जानकारी मिलेगी, हमारे वेबसाइट को आप देखें, जो लेटेस्ट हमने अमेंडमेंट किया है, तो आपको पता चलेगा कि किस तरह के इनिशिएटिव्स डिपार्टमेंट्स ले रही है। और न ओनली स्कीम्स, हम इनोवेशन को भी प्रमोट करते हैं और इसलिए नेशनल लेवल पर पुरस्कार की घोषणा करते हैं, और जो लोग इनोवेटिव आइडियाज के साथ इवन रिसाइकलिंग आते हैं उन्हें हम पुरस्कृत भी करते हैं राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर। ऑफ कोर्स इसमें काफी कुछ काम करने की जरूरत है। आप लोगों के बहुमूल्य फीडबैक के आधार पर डिपार्टमेंट फर्दर निर्णय लेगी और रिसाइकलिंग इंडस्ट्री को सपोर्ट करने के लिए हम प्रतिबद्ध हैं। और खास करके वेस्ट टू वेल्थ के फार्मूले पर, ताकि यह जो वेस्ट है और ये इससे रिलेटेड जो कार्य है उसको एक सिर्फ सोशल ऑब्लिगेशन के रूप में नहीं, बल्कि एक प्रोफेशन के रूप में, जैसा कि हमारे विदेश में रहने वाले जो हमारे भारतीय भाई हैं जो कई सफल उदाहरण दे चुके हैं, उस मॉडल को फॉलो करते हुए इंडिया में भी हम लोग प्रमोट करेंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Now I request Additional Secretary Chemical, Sri Samir Kumar Biswas ji, to kindly say a few words.
Honorable Mantri ji, respected Mansukh Mandovia ji, or respected Secretary Chaturvedi ji, and all the distinguished participants who are present in this conference. It was a very enlightening presentations given by many of the speakers. It was very useful and informative. Specifically, Mr. Sunil Bagari has brought out a particular pertinent point that how the usage of plastic has been growing throughout the world in last 1 decade or so.
one point he did not out how important it is for India. Because India as of today is a second populous country in the world. And we are expected to be the most populous country by 2030, even overtaking the population of China. And as on today, our plastic consumption is one of the lowest in the world, which is again supposed to go up in view of high economic growth and higher disposable income in the hands of population. So the plastic waste management is going to be the key issue and the key priority area. I really like to compliment our Mantriji that he has really his foresighted vision as he motivated the department to take up the most important area, which is going to be very crucial. Now, the entire presentation has been given. Our secretary sir wants to speak on those, what all the government would like to do to facilitate this plastic recycling and reprocessing. But I would like to say that our department and the industry has also drawn out certain vision that we want to work on a sustainable basis for the sustainable development, adapting the world's latest technology, be it any field. The top class state of the art technology must be adapted in all the areas, whatever we are going to support and facilitate, and should also be on a global scale so that we are globally competitive and produce the most highest quality product at the cheapest price and really not only serve the Indian market but also cater to the global demand. Singapore, sir, is a very classic example where they don't have any natural resources. They import the entire thing, add value, process, and again export it back. So we also should think from that kind of model that how really, if we don't have adequate recyclable plastics, MLB plastics in our country, we should be in a position to import and also reprocess and export back. So with that, I again thank our Honorable Minister and our Secretary for taking up this is most important, and I also thank all the speakers and the distinguished participants, and I wish every participant of that clusters all the success and all the support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Secretary, Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizer, Government of India, President, CPET Governing Council, Sri to kindly give his guest of honor address.
Thank you, Nayak ji. Honorable Minister Mansukh Mandaviya ji, Shri Dilip Chanoy, Secretary General FICCI, the industry experts, the representative of the Material Recycling Association of India, Pravdas ji, central government officers, ladies and gentlemen. आज जो ये कॉन्फ्रेंस ये वेबिनार ऑर्गेनाइज किया गया है, इसमें जो प्रेजेंटेशंस हुई हैं, इट वाज रियली वेरी इनलाइटनिंग फॉर मी. और इसमें प्लास्टिक की जो यूजफुलनेस है उसके बारे में तो हमें बताना नहीं, काफी लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशन टुक प्लेस ऑन दिस, बट इट इज अ मीन्स एज हमारे देश में सभी लोकल बॉडीज में आप जाइए, जहां जगह आप जाते हैं आप प्लास्टिक के ढेर दिखाई पड़ते हैं. तो हमें अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज में इसमें डिसेंट्रलाइज वे में हमें इस तरह की फैसिलिटीज क्रिएट करनी होंगी. धोराजी में जो वहाँ के जो इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट ने, वहाँ के रिसाइकलर्स ने जो अपने लेवल पे वहाँ पर क्लस्टर सेटअप किया है, वो आई रियली अप्रिशिएट देयर एफर्ट. और हमें उसी के मॉडल को स्टडी करके वहाँ जो प्रॉब्लम्स हैं और जो ये मालेगांव और जलगांव और दिल्ली में भी जो प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं, उसको हम लोगों ने थोड़ा सा इसमें स्टडी करके और इसके बेसिस पर अपनी जो एग्जिस्टिंग स्कीम है प्लास्टिक पार्क स्कीम, उसमें हमने थोड़ी ट्विकिंग की है. और हम ब्राउन फील्ड प्रोजेक्ट्स को भी अब हम इसमें सैंक्शन करने के लिए हमने इसमें माननीय मंत्री जी से अप्रूवल लिया है. और हम चाहते हैं कि धौराजी जो ये क्लस्टर है, ये प्लास्टिक पार्क के रूप में इसको डेवलप किया जाए, जिससे कि सभी जो बेनिफिट्स हैं वो वहाँ के मैन्युफैक्चरर्स को मिल सके. मैं शॉर्ट में बताना चाहूंगा कि हमारी जो प्लास्टिक पार्क स्कीम है, इसमें डीसीपीसी जो हमारा डिपार्टमेंट है, वो इट 40 करोड़ रुपीस ग्रांट और 50% ऑफ द टोटल कॉमन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कॉस्ट, और रिमेनिंग जो है इट इज शेयर्ड बाय द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट और द डेवलपर ऑन 50-50 शेयरिंग बेसिस. तो इसमें इसका बेनिफिट लेकर के धौरा जी को अच्छा
प्लास्टिक पार्क के रूप में डेवलप किया जा सकता है, बट प्रोवाइडेड कि इस तरह का प्रपोजल हमारे पास स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से आना चाहिए। स्कीम इज ओपन, तो इसमें स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से मैं रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि उनका प्रपोजल आएगा तो हम लोग इसमें डेफिनेटली इस पे विचार करेंगे। और इस स्कीम में जो और भी बेनिफिट्स हैं उसको हम लोग इनकॉर्पोरेट करेंगे बेस्ड ऑन दी टुडेज डिस्कशंस। कुछ इश्यूज और सामने आई हैं, जैसे धौराजी प्लास्टिक वेस्ट रिसाइकलर्स एसोसिएशन ने बताया है कि इसमें जीएसटी प्रॉब्लम उनको फेस कर रहे हैं। वो बेसिकली इट इज ए केस ऑफ इन्वर्टेड रेट्स। ग्रेन्यूल्स पे ज्यादा रेट है जीएसटी का और फिनिश प्रोडक्ट पे कम है। तो मैं चाहूंगा कि इसको तुरंत हम लोग एक बैठक करके और इस इश्यूज को हम लोग थोड़ा डिस्कस कर लें और एक प्रपोजल अभी तुरंत मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस को भेज दें, क्योंकि उस तरह के प्रपोजल्स वो अभी मांग रहे हैं। तो इसमें जल्दी से माननीय मंत्री जी को मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि हम लोग एक जल्दी से इसमें एक बैठक बुलाएंगे और इस इश्यूज पर प्रस्ताव तैयार करके आपकी अनुमति लेकर के हम लोग वित्त मंत्रालय को भेजेंगे। और आज की ये जो कॉन्फ्रेंस है, इसमें जो भी लेसन्स इससे लर्न किए गए हैं, इसके बेसिस पर जो है और भी हमें इसमें आगे बढ़ने की आवश्यकता है। विशेष रूप से जैसे डॉक्टर मेधा ने बताया कि अर्बन लोकल बॉडीज में जो जहां पर वेस्ट कलेक्शन होता है वहां सेग्रीगेशन, उसका वहां प्रोसेसिंग लोकल लेवल पे करके और उसकी बेलिंग करके, जिससे कि कम वॉल्यूम में प्लास्टिक को करके फिर वो प्लास्टिक पार्क जहां पर रिसाइकलिंग फैसिलिटी में उसको ट्रांसपोर्ट किया जाए तो अच्छा होगा। इसके लिए हमें अर्बन डेवलपमेंट के साथ ही बात करके इसमें भी कुछ नीति बनानी पड़ेगी। सर लास्टली सर, इसमें एनवायरमेंट एंड फॉरेस्ट के साथ भी इसमें हमें जो है इसको इस इशू को लेना होगा। आई हैव स्पोकन टू द सेक्रेटरी एनवायरमेंट एंड फॉरेस्ट, उनके साथ बैठ करके इसमें जो भी पॉलिसी इंटरवेंशन है, विशेष रूप से जो उनकी जो फैसिलिटीज चल रही हैं उसके बारे में, एनवायरमेंटल अप्रूवल्स के बारे में, इस पर भी सर हम लोग प्रयास करेंगे। Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your kind words, sir. Now, Honorable Minister of State Independent Charge, Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, and Minister of State, Ministry of Government of India, Sri Mansukh Bhai Mandia ji. Sir, he is a Rajya Sabha member from Gujarat and is a believer of utmost simplicity. He was elected in the year 2012 and again re-elected in 2016 as Rajya Sabha member from Gujarat. He served as a Minister of State for Road Transport and Highways, Shipping, Chemicals and Fertilizer, Government of India during the year 16 to 19, and currently he is the Minister of State for Independent Charge for Shipping and Chemicals and Fertilizer, Government of India. He regularly interacts with the industry to overcome the roadblocks in operation and guides this ministry in policy intervention for the growth of this sector, and particularly for this recycling industry in Doraji. He had called a meeting, and after that all these actions have been initiated, and with his kind guidance I'm sure department will go further. Sir, I would request you to kindly give your keynote address.
आज के डिजिटल कॉन्फ्रेंस में हमारे बीच में उपस्थित फिक्की के केमिकल्स, पेट्रोकेमिकल्स विभाग देख रहे हैं ऐसे दिलीप जी, हमारे सेक्रेटरी चतुर्वेदी जी, सभी पार्टिसिपेंट भाइयों एवं बहनों, आज का कॉन्फ्रेंस है मेरी दृष्टि से इम्पोर्टेंट भी है और यूजफुल भी है। विस्तार से सभी लोगों ने अपना विषय रखा, क्या दिक्कत है, क्या करना चाहिए, इंटरनेशनल प्रैक्टिस क्या है, देश में एफडीआई इस सेक्टर में कैसे आ सकती है, क्या लूज पोल है हमें फुलफिल करना चाहिए, कौन सी सिस्टम में हमें चैनलाइज होने की आवश्यकता है, विस्तार से बातचीत हुई। इसलिए इस सेक्टर के संदर्भ में मैं बहुत ज्यादा कुछ नहीं कहूंगा, क्योंकि हम सब जानते हैं, समझते हैं कि आज के दिन में प्लास्टिक का यूज बढ़ता जा रहा है। आज सुबह में हम उठते हैं तब से प्लास्टिक का यूज करते हैं और सोते हैं तब तक प्लास्टिक आज हमारा जीवन का पार्ट बन चुका है। और अगले दिनों में उसका कंजप्शन और बढ़ना है। सारी सही भी बात है, अच्छी भी बात है, और कोई भी चीज का पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव दोनों पासा होता है। एक पहलू है उसका कि सस्ता है, एफोर्डेबल है, सभी चीज उससे सकती है, रिसाइकलिंग हो सकता है, फॉरेस्ट बच सकता है, अल्टरनेट यूज हो सकता है, तो हम उसका उपयोग करें। लेकिन उसकी नेगेटिव इफेक्ट है इंडिया जैसे कंट्री में कि रोड के दोनों साइड में देखो सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक पड़ा हुआ है। रेलवे ट्रैक के दोनों साइड देखो सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक, वेस्ट प्लास्टिक पड़ा हुआ है। ड्रेनेज चौकअप हो रही है, एनिमल्स खा रहे हैं, फार्म में जाते हैं उड़ के, तो वहां सीड ग्रो नहीं हो सकते क्योंकि उसके ऊपर प्लास्टिक जाता है, तो वहां दिक्कत होती है। इसी उसका नेगेटिव पहलू भी है। ऐसी स्थिति में दुनिया में अपने अपने हर कंट्री में अपनी प्रैक्टिस होती है। मैं मानता हूं कि जब हम कोई भी मॉडल सोचे तो मॉडल हमारा होना चाहिए। दुनिया में अच्छी चीजों को देखना, उसके साथ कंपैरिजन करना, दुनिया की बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस को इंडिया में लाना, इट्स गुड, लाना चाहिए। बट महत्वपूर्ण विषय यह है कि समझ लो कि यहां किसी को कहे कि आपको प्लास्टिक, आपका प्लास्टिक, फॉर एग्जांपल कानून की यहां कोई कमी है? कानून तो है ही कि मिल्क के पाउडर पाउच है उसको कलेक्ट करके फिर उसको वापस देना है, ऐसा एक कानून है ही फॉरेस्ट का। क्या कोई मिल्क प्रोड्यूसर कोऑपरेटिव हो या प्राइवेट डेयरी हो, वो पाउच इकट्ठा करने के लिए जाएंगे क्या? वो इकट्ठा करके उसको वापस देंगे क्या? क्या मैं आपको यहां से कहूं कि सब लोग अपना प्लास्टिक, जो प्लास्टिक का प्रोडक्शन करते, प्लास्टिक की चीज बनाते हैं, वो कलेक्ट करके आपको दे, ऐसा होगा क्या? या तो कोई कंट्रीब्यूशन करेंगे, ऐसा होगा क्या? मेरा आग्रह है कि हमारा मॉडल है, सभी को देखते हुए आज की हमारा कॉन्फ्रेंस का आउटपुट क्या है, कैसा करना चाहिए। आप सभी लोगों को डिटेल से सुनने के बाद मेरे मन में जो आ रहा है उस दिशा में हमें जाने की आवश्यकता लगती है कि एक तो हमारा डिपार्टमेंट की ओर से एक 5-6 लोगों का ग्रुप गठित किया जाए, जिसमें मिनिस्ट्री केमिकल्स एंड पेट्रोकेमिकल्स उसको लीड करे। उसके साथ जो रिसाइकलिंग इंडस्ट्रीज है, गुजरात, दोराजी हो, जलगांव हो, दिल्ली हो, जहां ऐसे क्लस्टर है जो इनफॉर्मल तरीके से चल रहा है, उसके एसोसिएशन को उसके साथ में रखा जाए, उसके साथ डिटेल कंसल्टेशन किया जाए। गुजरात स्टेट, महाराष्ट्र स्टेट, दिल्ली स्टेट, जिस स्टेट में ये इंडस्ट्रीज है, 3-4 ऐसे स्टेट, उसके पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव को, मतलब स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को, एक ग्रुप में शामिल किया जाए। और एक ग्रुप के द्वारा क्या मुझे 1 महीने में या तो 2 महीने में आप मुझे सुझाव दे सकते हो क्या, एक रिपोर्ट दे सकते हो क्या? जिस रिपोर्ट ऐसा होना चाहिए उसमें आज के दिन में सभी महानगर पालिका, म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन, उसमें प्लास्टिक वेस्ट निकलता है, कॉर्पोरेशन के लिए बहुत लायबिलिटी है। वो क्या करे? वो कलेक्ट तो करते हैं लेकिन निकाल कैसे करे, उसका कोई सॉल्यूशन दे सकते हो क्या? उसका ट्रांसपोर्टेशन, रॉ मटेरियल का, मतलब वेस्ट प्लास्टिक का, मेरा फर्स्ट कंसंट्रेशन है रोड यूज प्लास्टिक। बाकी प्लास्टिक का ट्रांसपोर्टेशन तो बहुत आसानी से हो जाता है, लेकिन जो रोड में पड़ा हुआ प्लास्टिक हो, सिंगल यूज प्लास्टिक हो, उसको प्रायोरिटी देते हुए एक कलेक्ट किया हुआ प्लास्टिक कॉर्पोरेशन ने किया हो, म्यूनिसिपैलिटी ने किया हो, तो विलेज ने किया हो, उसको इकट्ठा करके इंडस्ट्रीज तक पहुंचाने के लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं? या तो लोकल वहां कुछ प्लांट डालना है, या तो लोकल उसको सेग्रीगेट करके प्रोसेस करना है प्राइमरी, उसके लिए क्या कर सकते हैं? मतलब कलेक्शन, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन। तीसरा मुझे लगता है कि आपको रॉ मटेरियल की उपलब्धता करानी है तो उसको चैनलाइज करना पड़ेगा, वो चैनलाइज हो, कैसे हो। थर्ड पॉइंट पर जाना होगा कि जो आज एक क्लस्टर इनफॉर्मल चलता है उसको हम फॉर्मल कैसे करें। उसको पोल्यूशन प्रॉब्लम है। फॉर एग्जांपल, जैसा अंकित यहाँ एक्सप्लेन कर रहा था कि ये इनफॉर्मल इंडस्ट्रीज लगी हुई है, 400 यूनिट दोराजी में, ऐसा जलगांव में होगा, ऐसा दिल्ली में होगा, या तो कई सेक्टर में होगा। पोल्यूशन कंट्रोल बोर्ड का रजिस्ट्रेशन है ही नहीं, और आज वो रजिस्टर कराना चाहते हैं, लेकिन वो कहेंगे कि पहले आप जब से आपने स्टार्ट किया तब से आज तक का आप हमें पेनल्टी दो, तो ये संभव नहीं होगा। तो हम पॉलिसी फॉर्मेट में उसको कैसे डालें, हम कॉमन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैसे खड़ा करें, या तो कॉमन मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट है उसको कैसे फुलफिल करें, उसके लिए क्या करना चाहिए। हम उसके लिए जो इनोवेटिव टेक्नोलॉजी है, ये टेक्नोलॉजी बाहर के कंट्री में या तो वर्ल्ड वाइड जहां भी है, उसको इंडिया में लाने के लिए क्या करना चाहिए, लाने की आवश्यकता है। बिजनेस प्लेयर की मुझे चिंता नहीं है, क्योंकि बहुत बड़ी ऐसी इंडस्ट्रीज नहीं है कि इंडिया के लोग उसमें इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे। उसको स्मूथ करो, उसको कानूनी छकंजे से बाहर निकालो, तो हमारा ही प्लेयर उसमें चाहे इतना इन्वेस्ट करने की आवश्यकता हो कर पाएंगे। लेकिन भी कोई बाहर से इन्वेस्ट करना चाहे तो वो उसको हम कैसे इंडिया में इनवाइट कर सके, इन्वेस्ट इंडिया का उसमें सपोर्ट लेना चाहिए। और घोरपड़े जी ने कहा कि यहां से जो भारत सरकार की कई स्कीम है उसका स्टडी करो और उसका लाभ हमें क्लस्टर को कैसे दे पाए। ये सब विषय को लेके मुझे लगता है कि एक स्टडी ग्रुप नंबर ऑफ टाइप ऑफ डिस्कशन करें। क्या हम पीएलआई स्कीम का उसमें सभी छोटा मोटा इश्यू है, मुझे ये सपोर्ट करो, ये सपोर्ट करो, ये सपोर्ट करो, उसका सारा समाधान हम पीएलआई स्कीम करके उसको वन टाइम उसको प्रोडक्शन बेस पर कोई छोटा मोटा इंसेंटिव दे दे। चलो भाई दे देते हैं हम आपको 5%, 10%, इसलिए आप जीएसटी के जो गफले हैं या तो जीएसटी का वेरिएशन है उसमें जाना ही नहीं, आपको सपोर्ट मिल गया। सरकार की एग्जिस्टिंग जो स्कीम है उसका लाभ क्लस्टर को मिल गया। इनफॉर्मल है उसको फॉर्मल बनाने की व्यवस्था हो गई, जहां उसको कलेक्शन की एक व्यवस्था हो जाए, कलेक्शन जहां होता है उसको चैनलाइज करने की व्यवस्था हो जाए। इसे ही बिंदु पर आपको काम करना है। दुनिया में अच्छी प्रैक्टिस होगी, वो भी प्रैक्टिस हम करेंगे, लेकिन पहले हम कभी कभी मैं इंडिया में देखा है जब प्रेजेंटेशन होता है, कोई लोगों का सुझाव आता है, तो 10वीं वो दुनिया आज 10 स्टेप आगे बढ़ चुकी है, तो 10वें स्टेप को ध्यान में रखते हुए यहां से बात करनी चाहिए, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं, लेकिन हमें तीसरे स्टेप पे पहुंचना है। तो तीसरे स्टेप की बात पहले करनी चाहिए। जैसे एक बार एक प्रेजेंटेशन में एक अच्छी बड़ा प्रेजेंटेशन, बड़े लोग थे, वो इकोनॉमिस्ट लोग अपना प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे थे, मैं भी बैठा था उसमें। प्रेजेंटेशन में वो बोल रहे थे कि दिल्ली से कंटेनर निकलता है, उसको जेएनपीटी पहुंचने में 5 दिन लगता है, हमारे यहाँ लॉजिस्टिक कॉस्ट बहुत ज्यादा है, हमारी सप्लाई चेन डिस्टर्ब है, उसको ठीक करनी है, ये करना चाहिए। तो उन्होंने कहा, एक्सप्लेन किया, तो बाद में मैंने कहा कि मैं क्वेश्चंस, उन्होंने कहा जी कहिए, बड़े लोग उसमें और कई मंत्री भी बैठे थे, तो मैंने उसको क्वेश्चंस किया कि ये तो समस्या है, आप नहीं बताए तो भी हमें पता है, लेकिन उसका सॉल्यूशन क्या है। तो उन्होंने कहा कि एलिवेटेड ब्रिज बनाना चाहिए, बाईपास बनाना चाहिए। तो बाद में मैंने उसको कहा कि आप नहीं बताते तो हमें नहीं पता है क्या कि एलिवेटेड ब्रिज बनाना चाहिए, बाईपास बनाना चाहिए, सब बनाना चाहिए। और अमेरिका में ये प्रैक्टिस है, यूएसए में 1 घंटे में इतना ट्रक इतना किलोमीटर चलता है, यूरोप में इतना किलोमीटर चलता है, सीआईएस कंट्री में इतना किलोमीटर चलता है। इट्स वर्ल्ड बेंचमार्क के साथ आप कंपैरिजन करो, नो ऑब्जेक्शन, उसमें मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं, करने चाहिए। लेकिन अमेरिका की इकोनॉमी $33 ट्रिलियन है और मेरी इकोनॉमी $2.64 ट्रिलियन है। जब $10 ट्रिलियन हो जाएंगे तब आप नहीं कहेंगे तो भी हम बाईपास बना देंगे, हेली बना देंगे। लेकिन आपके पास कोई इंडिजिनियस मॉडल है तो उसकी, मैंने कहा कि आपके पास नहीं तो मैं बताऊं, एक दिल्ली से निकला हुआ कंटेनर ट्रक में जाएगा, मैं लीडर हूं और मेरे सम्मान में एक बहुत कार्यक्रम नेशनल हाईवे नंबर 8 गुजरात से पास होता है, मैं गुजरात से हूं, तो किया हुआ है और रोड पे मेरा जुलूस निकला है, तो तेरा ट्रक क्या करेगा, रुकेगा कि चलेगा? मैंने कहा एक भारत नेशनल हाईवे नंबर 8 पर चल जा रही है और पीछे ट्रक आया है तो रुकेगा कि नहीं रुकेगा? मैंने कहा कि आप गोट्स और पेड़ बकरी को जानते होंगे। मैंने कहा कि शिप और गोट्स को जानते होंगे, एक शेफर्ड उसको क्रॉस करवा रहा है, तो एक के बाद एक चलते हैं, तो 20 मिनट तक वो रोड क्रॉस कर रहे हैं, तो क्या होगा आपका? आपका ट्रक रुकेगा कि नहीं रुकेगा? मैंने कहा ट्रैक्टर रोड पे निकल रहा है और उसकी स्पीड 20 किलोमीटर है और तेरा ट्रक की स्पीड 60 किलोमीटर है, आधा घंटा आपको साइड नहीं देता है, तू क्या करेगा? मैंने कहा कि हिंदुस्तान के प्रधानमंत्री देश की आजादी के 17 साल के बाद देश की जनता को टॉयलेट कैसे जाना है वो रेड फोर्ट से सिखा रहा है। उससे हमें ये सीखना है कि हमारे देश के नागरिक को पहले हम डिसिप्लिन में कैसे लाए। केवल मैं इतनी ही डिसिप्लिन फॉलो करूं कि भाई मैं लीडर कितना बड़ा हूं, लेकिन मुझे जुलूस रोड पे नहीं निकालना, मैं साइड में निकालना। भाई बारात लेके जाना है, आपको शादी करना है, अच्छी बात है, शादी करो, लेकिन शादी की बारात रोड से मत निकलो, आप साइड में जाके करो। तो मैंने कहा कि आपका 5 दिन 2 दिन हो जाएगा कि नहीं हो जाएगा? तो हो जाएगा। मैंने कहा इट्स कॉल्ड इंडियन मॉडल। वैसे हमारा मॉडल, हमारे पास जो संसाधन है, व्यवस्था है, आज की समस्या है, उसके आगे 2-3 स्टेप हम पहले चल जाएंगे तो बाद में 7-8-10 स्टेप चलने में हमें दिक्कत नहीं होगी। लेकिन प्राइमरी स्टेज में अनफॉर्मल सेक्टर पड़ा हुआ है। मैं दोराजी जाके देखा तब मुझे पता चला कि ये लोगों ने स्वयं अपनी मेहनत से, अपनी हिम्मत से, नो हैंड होल्डिंग एनीवेयर एंड एनी हाउ एंड एनीथिंग, नो सपोर्ट, एनी सपोर्ट टू गवर्नमेंट, ये लोग ने इतना खड़ा कर ही दिया है, तो गवर्नमेंट उसको सपोर्ट करके 2-3 स्टेप चला दे तो 100% बाद में आगे चल जाए। मेरा आप एक टीम बने, उससे मकसद है कि हम कोई ऐसी स्कीम ना बनाए या तो कोई ऐसा सुझाव ना दे जो हमें इंटरनेशनल बेंचमार्क को आज उसको इंटरनेशनल बेंचमार्क को पहुंच सके। स्टेप बाय स्टेप हम पहुंचेंगे। आज जो है उसको ठीक करना है, वो करने के बाद हम अवश्य जाएंगे। और इसलिए इस टाइप का कंसल्टेशन आज मेरी दृष्टि से, मेरे मन में, मेरी एक मीटिंग तो लॉस हो गई, मैंने 12:30 बजे दूसरी एक मीटिंग कॉल की थी, तो मैंने कहा कि उसको छोड़ दो, लेकिन मैं ये पूरा करूं क्योंकि इतना महत्वपूर्ण सुझाव आ रहा था, महत्वपूर्ण एक्सपीरियंस आ रहा था। जो लोग इस इंडस्ट्रीज के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं उसका आउटपुट आ रहा था, उसका इनपुट्स आ रहा था, तो सबको देखते हुए मुझे भी बहुत इंफॉर्मेशन मिली है। व्यक्तिगत तौर पर कई इंडस्ट्रीज के लोग आके जाके मुझे मिलके बातचीत करते रहते हैं, सब चीज उसमें आ गई। उसके आधार पर ये टीम 2 महीने में अपना रिपोर्ट तय करके, रेडी करके मिनिस्ट्री के सामने रखे, मेरे सामने रखे। उसके आधार पर जो पॉलिसी फॉर्म करनी है तो पॉलिसी फॉर्म करेंगे, कोई स्कीम निकालनी है तो स्कीम निकालेंगे, और इस करके हम अवश्य आगे बढ़ेंगे। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, sir, for your kind advice. And now I request Dr. Samir Joshi to give his vote of thanks.
ऑनरेबल मंत्री जी, आपने बहुत बड़ी बात की, थैंक यू। ये अलग अलग भाषाओं में अलग अलग जैसे बोला जा सकता है। डंकी इन डच, धन्यवादा मुलु इन तेलुगु, धन्यवाद इन मराठी, आभारा इन गुजराती। So we have people from all over the world, and thank you everybody, and thank you team for making this successful. धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
नमस्ते, धन्यवाद।
With this concludes the session and this webinar. Thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you.